Imagine a ring that makes you invisible. Now imagine your worst impulse. Plato asked this question 200 or 400 years ago, and the answer he expected might unsettle you. Stick around, because by the end you'll see why most philosophers think he was wrong, and why your own life might already prove it. Before we go on, if you find this sort of thing worthwhile, do consider subscribing. It genuinely helps. Here's the story. A shepherd named Gyges is tending his flock in the kingdom of Lydia when an earthquake splits the ground open. He climbs down into the chasm and finds a hollow bronze horse. Inside the horse is a corpse wearing nothing but a gold ring. Gyges takes the ring. Later, sitting with other shepherds, he twists the ring on his finger by accident, and the others start talking about him like he's not there. He's vanished. He twists it back, and he reappears. So Gyges does what almost anyone in this story does. He uses the ring to sneak into the royal palace. He seduces the queen, he murders the king, and he takes the throne. This story is told by a character named Glaucon in Plato's Republic. And Glaucon isn't telling it to entertain Socrates. He's telling it to corner him. Glaucon's argument goes like this. Imagine two rings. Give one to a person we all consider deeply moral. Give the other to a person we all consider deeply corrupt. Glaucon claims that within a week their behaviour will be identical. Both will steal. Both will lie. Both will sleep with whoever they want and kill whoever stands in their way. Because the only reason the so-called good person was good in the first place was fear. Fear of getting caught. Fear of looking bad. Fear of jail, or social shame, or hell. Take away the consequences, Glaucon says, and you take away the morality. What looked like virtue was really just calculation. And here's the part that stings. Glaucon says anyone who refuses to use the ring isn't admirable. They're a fool. They're leaving free pleasure on the table for no reason. So the challenge to Socrates and to you is simple. Prove that being good is worth something, even when nobody is watching. Prove that justice isn't just a costume we wear, because we're afraid of the audience. Socrates doesn't take the bait. He doesn't say the ring wearer would get caught by the gods, or punished in the afterlife, or eaten by guilt. His answer is stranger and, honestly, harder to swallow at first. He says the person who uses the ring is already being punished. Not later. Now. Because for Socrates, a human soul has parts. There's reason, there's spirit, and there's appetite. A just person is one whose reason rules the other two, the way a good rider controls a horse. An unjust person lets their appetites run the show. So when Gyges murders the king to take the throne, he isn't winning. He's becoming a slave to his own greed. His soul is in chaos. He might be sitting on a golden throne, but inside he's a mess of cravings he can never satisfy. Think of someone you know who has everything they ever wanted and is still miserable. Socrates would say, yes, exactly. Injustice doesn't pay. Not because the universe punishes you, but because it warps the only thing you actually live inside, which is your own mind. Now, is Socrates right? Modern philosophers have been arguing about this for centuries. On one hand, there's real evidence for his view. Studies on what psychologists call the dark triad, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, suggest that people who lie and manipulate freely often report lower long-term life satisfaction. Their relationships collapse. They become paranoid. They can't trust anyone because they know what they themselves would do. On the other hand, plenty of people seem to cheat and lie and live perfectly comfortable lives. CEOs cook the books and retire to yachts. Politicians lie and get re-elected. The empirical case that injustice always ruins you is shakier than Socrates would like. But here's a twist. Socrates might say those people only look happy from the outside. You don't actually know what's happening inside the mind of a person who has lied their whole life. And neither do they, because they've never tried the other path to compare. Here's where it gets personal. You don't need a magic ring to test this. You already have invisible moments. When you're alone in a hotel room, when you're driving on an empty road at 3 a.m, when nobody will ever know if you click that link, or send that message, or take that extra 20 from the till. Every one of those moments is a tiny ring of Gyges. And the question isn't whether you'd commit murder. The question is smaller and sharper. Who are you when there are no consequences? Because the answer tells you whether your values are actually yours, or whether they're just borrowed costumes you wear for the crowd. The interesting thing, and the thing Glaucon didn't anticipate, is that most people, when they're truly alone, don't behave like monsters. They behave better than Glaucon predicted. Not perfectly, but better, which is a data point worth sitting with. There's one more layer to this story that most people miss. After Gyges takes the throne, or throne, what does he have? He has power he gained through deceit. He can never be sure if anyone around him is loyal or just afraid. He can never share the truth of who he is. He has to wear a mask forever. The ring didn't make him free. It built him a prison made of secrets. And maybe that's the real answer to Glaucon. Not that the gods will punish you, not that guilt will eat you, but that a life where you can only get what you want by hiding is a smaller life than one where you can be seen. The visible self, flawed and limited, gets to be known. The invisible self gets everything except that. So here's the question I want to leave you with. If you found that ring tomorrow, what would you actually do with it? Not the heroic answer, the honest one. And does that answer match the person you tell yourself you are? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them.